Welcome to Sherpa Dave's Race Recon series. On this channel, I try and make Zwift more engaging, fun and approachable for riders new and old. As you can tell, I fall into the old category myself, but I don't let that stop me. If you want to get more out of Zwift, follow along with us today. And if you like what you see, take a look at some of the other videos we have on the channel. Now, this is a race recon for the upcoming Zwift Racing League race on London's Surrey Hills. It's the last stage of the series and absolutely the Queen stage of the series. It's got 4 hard climbs for categories C's and D's and 5 hard climbs for categories A and B. Fox, Leith, Box, Keith, Fox. That's what we're looking at here. There was a little bit of confusion from some of the information that escaped Zwift HQ ahead of this ride, but that's all sorted now. So we know what we're dealing with is a 37-kilometer ride for the C's and D's and a 44-kilometer ride for the A's and the B's. This is a long ride, so I tried to keep the DS Tearoff sheet as straightforward as I could and focused on the key information around the intermediate climbs. Boiling all that down into one page, here's what we get. There's one thing here we haven't talked about, and that's bike choice. So when you look at the course profile, then what you see is a lot of hills. And so that certainly lends itself to the notion that a balanced bike like Tron is going to be far better than a pure aero machine. So I gave my friend Eric Slanger a ring and asked him for his advice. And as he always does, he did the real hard work, he did the science to understand what was the best bike. So no real surprises that the best bike that you can ride on Tuesday is Tron. Ideally, a nice pink Tron. But we have one other choice for you. It isn't as fast as Tron, but it is available quite early in your Zwift career, and it's also pretty good. And that's the Canyon Air Road with the DT Swiss wheels. So there's your choices for Tuesday. If you've got Tron, ride Tron. If you don't have Tron, make sure you've got the Canyon Air Road and the DT Swiss wheels. Let's crack on with the ride. The London Pen offers a flat start when we're going in this direction. So it's going to go off fast. What I want you all to do is just make sure you don't go out so fast that you burn yourself out. You've got an hour and a half's effort ahead of you most likely, and so pacing will be critically important. Let a few guys go ahead of you now and you can pick them up a little bit later when they go up. It's pretty flat for that first 2 kilometers. You have to bump down into the underground station, but other than that, you're pretty flat. The climb up Fox Hill starts about half a kilometer from the actual KOM marker. Now that half a kilometer only averages 4%, but you have to be aware that it is there. Jockeying for position is going to start pretty much as soon as you see the incline start. Once you hit the KOM marker, you have 1.6 kilometers of hard riding to do. And immediately after the KOM marker, about 100 meters after actually, you hit a 100-meter segment of 10% grip. So that's like hitting a wall at this point. Luckily, you've got fresh legs. After that 100 meters, it does ease back a little, but you're still averaging 7 to 8% all the way up to the top of the pile. The last 700 meters of this KOM is downhill and flat. So if you're a climber, you want to have made up as much time as you can to get ahead of everybody else. But for everybody else, this is the time to make an attack and recoup that distance. Collect your power up as you go through and then descend Box Hill. If you collected a anvil power up, use it anytime you like down this descent because You won't need it once you get to the bottom of this hill. After that, it's all uphill, up Leith Hill. So let's jump there now. What you need to know about the Leith Hill KOM is that it is not a 2 kilometer KOM. It is a 6 kilometer hill that you have to glide up. The first 4 kilometer free hill is only 3% on average, but in actuality, it is 5 distinct 5 to 7% bumps with lesser grades in between. Each of those bumps are going to be times when the riders around you, and indeed you yourself, are testing everybody, trying to see who can stay with the pack, who can't stay with the pack. What's going to end up happening here is all of the larger groups are going to dissolve into smaller groups, and then the smaller groups are going to dissolve into a conga line. That's actually not all that bad, because in all of these areas where you've got lower gradients, you can still gain drafting benefit, and a conga line means you can gain drafting benefit all the way up. My advice to you is, from the moment the Leith Hill climb starts, don't spend a single second wondering where the KOM marker is. The reality is you've got 6 kilometers to do, and it isn't done till you get to the top. That said, the KOM marker is at 12.5 kilometers. From there, you've got 2 kilometers to the top of the hill. Be aware that the KOM itself has a flat bottom and a flat top. So it's not 2 kilometers of climbing, it is 1.5 kilometers of climbing at north of 8%. This is a tough climb by any stretch of the imagination, but there are a couple of secret things that you need to know that will help you win points at the top of this climb. First, the actual KOM gate comes 50 meters after a blind curve. You cannot see that gate until you're 50 meters away from it. And second, those 50 meters, as you go round that blind bend, go from 10% to 1 or 2% almost instantly. And this sets up nicely for your winning attack on this hill. What you want to do here is launch your attack immediately before that blind bend at 14.4 kilometers into the ride. It's going to look to everybody, and probably to you as well, like all you have is more distance at 10%. But you know, immediately you hit that bend, it drops to 1%. So if you picked up a feather at Fox Hill, then the time to use it is around 14.3 to 14.4 kilometers into the ride. If you picked up a truck, you want to hold on to that truck and you want to use it as you go around that bend so that you can steal some extra draft off the riders that are in front of you and nip past them at the line. Those are your Sherpa Dave secrets for getting up Leith Hill and maximizing your points. Head through the gate, pick up power up number 2. You've got a little bit of a flat area immediately after the gate, so keep powering through, because when that descent hits, you want to get to Supertuck speed as fast as you can. Supertuck gradient hits you at 15.1 kilometers into the ride. If you've got the anvil as the power up coming through Leith, then maybe use that to get yourself up to 58 kilometers an hour so you can Supertuck earlier. From this point, you have a nice 2 kilometer Supertuck potential where you can rest, recover, have some deep breaths, and get that heart rate under control. Come back on the power at 17.4 kilometers. You know when you've got there because you come out of the forest and you can see the sky above you. Power through this short blip, and if you maintain enough power, speed, and momentum, you have another short Supertuck opportunity at 17.8 kilometers. But it's back on the power at 18.6 because you've got to the bottom of the hill. You've now got 3 kilometers of rollers as you go through Richmond Park. You do go up and over a decent sized bump at 19.3 kilometers, so expect 600 meters at around 4 to 5%. Quick update on subscribers. We are well over 940, and that's just an amazing jump from the 250 who were 3 weeks ago. I'm pretty sure we're going to hit the 1,000 fairly soon, and I want to share with you something that I've been working on. When I get to 1,000, I'm going to take a list of names, all those 1,000 subscribers, pop them into a hat, and I'm going to do a prize drawing. So a lucky few of you will get some Sherpa Dave freebies. The challenge is this: I don't know what freebies yet, so I need your help. Could be hats, could be jerseys, could be t-shirts or mugs, I don't know. What I'd like from you is to pop in the comment section below what your dream free stuff from Sherpa Dave would look like. That note, have at it. Coming down the other side of that bump, you're getting close to Box Hill. As I mentioned earlier, because we're approaching from Richmond Park, we don't cross the KOM marker, so the way that you know you're starting the hill is when you start to see these houses on the left hand side. From there, it's a gentle incline for 300 meters before you turn sharp left, and then it's onto the familiar Box Hill roads. You know this pretty well. It averages 5% all the way to the top, but this first section up to the first hairpin is at 7%, and by far the toughest part. From there it does steady, and it's 4.5 to 5% all the way up to the gate, which is at 24.4 kilometers. No intermediate points, but you will pick up another power up. The road is flat through the gate, and then continues flat for another 500 meters before you get to the Box Hill kicker, which is uphill for 150 meters, and then you start the descent of Fox over the crest of the hill, and then get up to super tuck speed as fast as you can. After that, it's a nice rest down. Let's try and get that heart rate back under control again. You will have to power through the blip at 26.2 kilometers. You've got the anvil, perhaps you can use it ahead of there to pick up enough speed to minimize the impact of that blip on your super tuck. Either way, when you start to enter the village at 27.2 kilometers, it's time to get back on that power. You're now approaching Keith Hill. From the KOM marker, you have a 3.5 kilometer climb. The climb averages 6%, but right in the middle of it, there is a little blip downwards. You'll remember this is where you had to power through when you were super tucking the descent. And when you take that into account, what you're looking at here is a sustained climb of 8%, pretty much all the way up. That dip comes at 28.5 kilometers into the right. It's a great opportunity to launch a bridge over to the group ahead of you. It is not a great opportunity for you to launch an all-out attack if you're in the lead group. You're still too far from the top of the hill unless you have supremely good legs. Crack on from here. It's pretty much 8% all the way up to 31.1 kilometers. At 31.1, the hill suddenly breaks, and then it's pretty much flat for the dash to the KOM, and that sets us up for our strategy for points here. A little like when we came up the other way, if you're a climber, then you will have stretched your lead out as much as you can on the climb itself. For everyone else, then you want to launch the attack at 31.1 kilometers right before the hill breaks. So if you've got a feather, use that feather at 31 kilometers. If you have a truck, use it while you're on the flat in order to draft as much as you can and gain some positional advantage. Finish that dash to the gate, and then pick up a power up, and you're on the Leith Hill descent. For the seasoned-ies, this is the end game. This is your last descent before you hit the finish line. The approach here is to super tuck for the first 2 kilometers, and then power for the remaining 4 kilometers as fast as your little legs can handle. If you've got the anvil, make sure you use it on this climb to accelerate as much as possible. Remember though, we don't know exactly where that blue finish line is. We know it's at the bottom of the hill, but we don't know exactly where it is. For A's and B's, that's all good advice, but something of an anticlimax because you still have 7 kilometers still to go. Let's take the 3 kilometers going over Richmond Park, and then we have the final climb of Fox Hill. This should all be familiar because it's the same climb we did at the start of the ride. from the KOM marker, you are 2.3 kilometers from the end of the ride. The next 1.6 kilometers of that is a tough climb up Fox Hill. I don't need to tell you about this climb, we've already gone up it and down before on this ride. The end game of this climb is the same as it was the first time we went there. At 43.5 kilometers into the race, the hill will break and you will suddenly be on a downhill. If you've got the feather, you want to punch it a little bit before that. If you've got the anvil still with you, you might want to chance your arm and punch it as you start this descent and get some acceleration going. If you have the truck, of course, you will use that on the remaining half a kilometer as you are racing towards the finish line. Hit that finish line and you are done. Now all we need to do is reprise the one pager and the DS tear-off sheet as the band plays it off.